Hi everybody, this is Dr. Karen Finn, author of On the Road from Heartbreak to Happiness, and I'm so glad you're here for the third bonus video where I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I believe the 9 most important steps you need to go through in order to get through your divorce recovery in one piece and feeling great about yourself. And after I get done telling you all about these 9 steps, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you can join me in helping you get through those steps. But before I go there, let me tell you what these most important pieces are. Okay, the first one really is about identifying how you changed within your marriage. And we're not doing this from a point of trying to figure out blame. That's not what I mean here. It's just that, you know, when you get married, you make compromises along the way. I know I sure did in my first marriage. I made compromises really almost from the moment I met my ex-husband. And they weren't necessarily changes that I wanted to make. They were changes I thought I had to make because I thought I had to be in that relationship. You know what I mean? And so ultimately they came back to really make my life miserable because, you know, I made this little change and that little change and another little change, so that by the time my marriage ended almost 18 years later, I wasn't really sure who I was anymore. And it was a long, hard road for me to figure out who I was. And that's why I think this is such an important part of divorce recovery, is really understanding the changes you've made so you can start to have glimpses of who you're going to become and who you were and what you really like about yourself again. Really, really important stuff. Okay, the second thing, oh my gosh, is really what most people say divorce recovery is all about, and that's working through your grief. At its core, divorce recovery is a grief process, which means you've lost something and it really hurts that you lost it, right? We all enter into marriage with dreams of happily ever after, but when we get divorced, those dreams are smashed to smithereens. And learning how to grieve that, to go on and to be okay with it, is really an important part of finding your way through your healing. The next really important thing is dealing with the anger. Because what you're going to find, if you haven't already, is that for most of us, divorce anger is a different kind of anger than you have ever experienced before in your entire life. For most of us, it verges on a rage. And you just don't even know where it comes from, all this emotional drama and hurt and just misery that comes pouring out of you. And I'll tell you what my little theory is about it. You know how when you get married, you know, you kind of pick and choose your battles, and things that you don't address, you kind of sweep underneath the rug, and you kind of sweep underneath the rug, and over the years you keep sweeping underneath the rug, so the rug isn't lying flat on the floor anymore. It's got this kind of great big hump in it, you know, with all the stuff you swept underneath it. Well, when you get divorced, there's no real need for that rug anymore, because it's not like you're going to be living with this person for the rest of your life, right? So all this pent up hurt comes spewing out, and it just spews and spews and spews. So learning how to deal with that anger constructively is really important. And that's why I think it's probably in my top 3 of things that you have to deal with when you're healing from your divorce. Oh my gosh. Okay. This next one, the 4th thing, is about fixing your self-esteem. Because I don't know of anybody who gets divorced and thinks that they're fabulous as a result of getting divorced. For most of us, getting divorced is a real hurt to our ego, to really who we thought we were. I mean, how many years have you identified as your ex's or your soon-to-be ex's spouse? And all of a sudden, you're not good enough, right? Whether or not you made the decision to divorce, that's what it really comes down to, is you're not good enough to be in this marriage anymore. And that hurts. It really hurts. It's incredibly traumatic. I know that when I went through my divorce, I felt so low. I felt like the worms crawling around in the muck in the ponds were higher up on the self-worth scale than I was. I mean, I was miserable, just miserably depressed, and I thought I was really next to worthless. So that's a pretty common thing to go through. And that's why it's so important to build up your self-esteem. And I've got some great tips and tricks for how to do that. As you probably guessed, since obviously I'm not, down there anymore feeling miserable about myself. The next thing, the fifth thing that I think is really important along your journey to healing from divorce is learning how to trust again. At its core, when your marriage ends, it's a broken trust, right? Because when you stepped into marriage, you trusted the person you were marrying. They trusted you to have each other's back, to love each other forever, to care for each other, right? That's why the marriage vow is till death do us part, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, right? No matter what. And yet, it's not no matter what. It's over. And so when you experience a hurt like that, it's natural to be very guarded, to be unsure if you're really willing to trust someone again. But the only way to make it through life is to trust, to allow yourself to be open enough to trust someone, and yes, open up the possibility for being hurt again. But it's still necessary. The next piece, you're probably going to have a little bit of squeamish reaction to. I know I did the first time I heard it, but it's redefining what love means to you. Now hear me out on this. Okay, most of us get married for love, right? We fall in love with someone, we decide to get married, decide to spend the rest of our lives together, right? And all those dreams of happily ever after, right, we think are coming to fruition. And yet, if we were truly loving, right, and loved, why did our marriage end? So when I faced that question with my own divorce, it really turned my perceptions of what love is inside out and upside down. I had to completely reorganize my thoughts about love and actually reprioritize how it fit into my life. So the next one is you've learned how to trust again, right? You've kind of redefined what love is, and I don't just mean romantic love, I probably should have specified that, but romantic love, familial love, friendship kind of love. The next piece, right, which kind of builds on that, is developing new friendships, right? Is putting yourself out there to experience new situations, meet new people, and see how you like meeting new people. What you like about yourself, what you like about others, and it may even lead to experimenting with dating. I know it's probably premature for a lot of you to be thinking along these lines, but it's part of the natural progression of healing from divorce. And with dating comes the next important step, is dealing with your sexuality, right? When you're married, for most of us, there's a pretty easy way to express our sexuality with our built-in partner, right? But when you're suddenly single after a divorce, you have to choose how you want to express that again. And that's a very personal experience to try to know what's right for you, right? And that's important, right? This is a theme you'll hear from me again and again if you've ever read any of my work, is it's really important for you to know what's right for you and go with that. And finally, I think the last big piece of healing from divorce is the ability to let go. And by letting go, I mean letting go of all the hurt, the pain, the shame, the blame that went along with the divorce. And letting go of all the constraints that you put on yourself because you thought you had to. Allowing yourself to blossom into the full, wonderful, sensational single person that you are until perhaps you're ready to enter into another relationship. So I think these are the really big milestones of any healing from divorce that you can do. And they may not be really clear to you right now, but let me tell you of a way that you can work with me to make sure that they are especially clear. You see, coming up on February the 4th, I'm going to be starting a new When Your Relationship Ends workshop. And we'll be going through each of these major milestones of divorce recovery together. I'll be presenting a lesson, we'll be having conversation, and it will be a wonderful experience. Now, you're probably saying, but Karen, I don't live anywhere near you. And that's okay, because this workshop is all done by teleconference and webinar. I have a phone number that we all call into, and we all have a conversation together about what's going on with divorce recovery, right? I have a lesson plan for each of the 10 weeks, and we'll meet for 2 hours once a week to share a community, problem solve, and learn what the next step is to move forward with healing from divorce. And if you'd like to learn more about the workshop, all you have to do is visit my website, drkarenfinn.com, and look for the menu item that says Work With Me. Scroll down to where it says Workshops, and over on the right from there, it'll say WYRE, WYRE. That's the workshop I'm talking about. It's the When Your Relationship Ends workshop.